Hi, I'm Emily Muhlstein, and I'm a staff member for the Gulf of Mexico Fishery Management Council. We would all like to take a moment to welcome you aboard and congratulate you on your appointment to an advisory panel. As a new member, you may have some questions about the logistics of being an advisory panel member. I'd like to take a minute to explain some of the things you might need to know moving forward. Advisory panels don't meet on a regular schedule. Instead, the Council will decide to convene an advisory panel when they are working on a fishery issue and feel as though they can use some expert advice. At that point, a Gulf Council staff member will contact you and ask for available meeting dates. You will then be given an agenda and necessary background materials to prepare for the meeting. Once a meeting date is selected, the Council's travel coordinator will send you a meeting notice and give you instructions on how to make hotel and flight arrangements. You will be given a meeting authorization that will tell you how much you can spend on daily food and lodging. You will book your own flights through our travel agency, AdTrav, and you'll have to make sure that those flights allow for your full participation at the meeting. You will also be given a travel expense report. You must submit your claim within 60 days in order to get paid back for your travel. Please remember to fill in your name, your address, the dates and times that you are on council business, and please sign the bottom of the form. You'll also have to itemize your meals, so pay attention to that while you're traveling. And then under the remarks section, explain if your travel methods deviate from the most direct or the most cost-effective means of travel. You'll also need to place your lodging taxes in section E. And if you need a rental car, that will have to be pre-approved by our travel coordinator. And then to submit your form, you can scan it and email it, you can fax it, or you can send it to our office. So just some specifics about the council itself. The council is comprised of the regional administrator of NOAA Fisheries, the director of the 5 Gulf States Marine Resource Management Agencies, and also 11 members of the public who represent different interests in the fishery. There's commercial fishermen, for-hire fishermen, private recreational anglers, and some academics on the council. Congress is ultimately in control of fisheries management. They created the Magnuson-Stevens Fishery Conservation Acts, which informs all of the actions of NOAA Fisheries and the council. So the Gulf Council makes fisheries management recommendations to NOAA Fisheries using science that is provided by NOAA. Once the council makes recommendations, NOAA Fisheries has to approve and implement those regulations before they become law. So the Magnuson-Stevens Act requires a number of different things from the councils and from NOAA Fisheries. These are the 10 national standards of fisheries management, and I'll go over them quickly. The first standard is to prevent overfishing while achieving optimum yield in the fishery. The second is to use the best scientific information available when making fisheries management decisions. The third is to manage fish stocks as a unit when possible. The fourth is to allocate fairly and equitably and to promote conservation and prevent the excessive holding of shares in a fishery. The fifth is to consider efficiency, but not to base management solely on economic allocation. The sixth is to consider and allow for variations among fisheries, fisheries resources, and catches. The seventh is to minimize cost and avoid duplication when possible. The eighth is to provide for sustained participation by fishing communities. And the ninth is to minimize bycatch and the mortality of that bycatch. And finally, the 10th national standard is to promote safety at sea. Moving on to your role as an advisory panel member. Advisory panels are groups of individuals that have varying experience and different understandings of particular fisheries issues. It is your job to advise the council. As a member of an advisory panel, you're here to contribute to a dialogue. You're here to use your personal knowledge and your perspective to guide the advisory panel and consequently the council towards a big picture understanding of the issues at hand. Remember, you don't have a constituency because you are not an elected official. It's very likely that other people on your advisory panel will have different experiences and different understandings of the fishery than you do. and it is your job to collectively come up with the best solution for everybody involved. So how does an advisory panel function? Well, like I said, you will be given an agenda and background materials prior to the meeting. So you'll want to study up and make sure that you're prepared. There will be a staff member and a member of the council itself at each advisory panel meeting. The panel will select a chairman to facilitate their meetings, and then you will make recommendations to the council by passing motions using Robert's Rules of Order. So since you won't be in the room with the entire council, the staff member in charge of your advisory panel will write a summary report and present it to the appropriate council committee, along with those motions that you pass as a panel. The council committee will then make recommendations to full council, and once full council meets, they will decide what action to take after considering the committee recommendations and the recommendations of the advisory panel. So that pretty much sums up what you can expect from here. I suggest that you join our community by reading our blog, downloading our app, signing up for our newsletter, watching our meetings and other panels on Gulf Council TV, and if you are on Facebook, go ahead and find us and like us. That way you can stay involved and really become part of the process. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us, and again, we look forward to working with you.